Hello everyone, please press subscribe, press follow, press the bell so you don't miss any new clips. Astral Pet Store. Author by Ancient She. Audio novels by Novelist. Astral Pet Store. Chapter 116 promoted. At the end of the day, Su Ping dragged his fatigued body back to his shop, only to find that only an hour had passed in reality, which was to be expected. Apart from Little Skeleton, who did not change much after what they went through, the other three pets all began to show different temperaments. The Inferno Dragon grew a lot bigger than before. It was still a child of the third rank at best, but it was already developing that unique aura of a dragon. When fighting against a rock-type astral pet in one of the scales, it even learned Dragon Roar all by itself and scared its opponent away. The only problem was that its underdeveloped little throat couldn't afford to use that skill too often or it would hurt itself. The Manigam also grew quite braver, much to Su Ping's delight. After enduring the dragon's will inside the dragon tower, it had become bold enough to face off most enemies without backing off in fear, like a real hound would do. As long as it wasn't challenged by another dragon, it would rush headfirst toward its enemy like mad, as if trying to recover what dignity it lost previously. As a result, the Manigam died over 100 times due to recklessness, but also learned 2 new middle-rank skills while at. The Purple Python did its best during its debut battles. As it slowly reached the second rank, its spotted skin became better protected under maturing scales. Su Ping wasn't planning on returning to the training ground too soon. He needed time to both rest up and to let the pets digest what they had just gained. Also, he had decided not to take Little Skeleton with him the next time. There were very few high-rank monsters inside the dragon scale battle stages that were worth Little Skeleton's time. Letting Little Skeleton deal with monsters was a waste of time. After putting the pets inside their nursing pens, Su Ping opened the shop to wait for customers, while he could cultivate his Chaos Star chart as he waited. He only received a few students in the entire afternoon, ones who had sneaked out of class after they heard about their new teacher owning a pet shop. As soon as they learned that Su Ping also trained that famous lightning rat, these students did everything to find an excuse to get permission to leave, either by pretending sickness or claiming that their parents or relatives were in the hospital. Not all of them believed the rumor about the lightning rat, though they still paid a visit just so they could get closer to Su Ping and get admitted into his future lessons with more ease. Every student in the academy knew that they should cherish every opportunity they had for attending such lessons. Each time an advanced teacher announced a new schedule, the seats would get booked in less than a few seconds. Reselling tickets had become a popular source of income for common students, because richer ones usually weren't stingy with money if they could buy their way in. The coming students were glad to see Su Ping looking over the shop, knowing that their effort was not in vain. Similarly, Su Ping was also pleased that becoming an advanced teacher of the academy helped with his business. He earned a few thousand energy points from the coming students, boosting his balance to about 9,200. The incubation pool required 1,000,000 energy points to reach level 4, so he couldn't use the points that way. 10,000 energy points used to be a big number when everything was cheap. Now, however, he could only use those points to open up better nursing pens or buy items from the system shop, while other level-ups needed way more points than that. An intermediate force pellet cost 10,000. To make up for what was missing, he had to wait for more lambs, more customers, to visit. He found enough income by the end of the day from several more students. Without thinking twice, he purchased an intermediate force pellet from the system. His current combat strength rating was 3.9, only a step away from the 4th rank. There were several major obstacles during one's cultivation that required more than time and effort to break through. The one before reaching the 4th rank was such an obstacle. If he solely relied upon his Chaos Star chart, he estimated that he would need 2 more weeks to earn the remaining 0.1 rating. With the force pellet, however, he could reach the next rank in the blink of an eye. There were many powerful 9th-rank astral pets on this planet, but way fewer beast kings, because the last bottleneck was so much harder to tackle. Humans, too. couldn't easily go beyond the 9th rank without meeting a timely twist of fate that miraculously boosted them. There had been many talented ones who attained the rank of a titled 9th rank battle pet warrior at the age of 30, and stayed that way until they grew old. As soon as the pellet went down his throat, Su Ping felt all of his bones cracking as if they were breaking apart and reforming. Meanwhile, the astral vortices around his body rapidly grew larger and used their new power to nurture his cells, until he felt in control of a commanding force that could draw all astral power in a large area, all for his own use. With this, he would be able to cultivate his power several times faster than before, while preventing other people in his range from effectively growing. Or, he could empty all astral power completely within 30 meters from his position. Anyone near to him would not get any astral power supplied at all. Just as he thought, this Chaos Star Chart technique was terrifyingly efficient. The Force Pellet did more than help him reach the next rank. It pushed his combat strength all the way to 4.5, meaning the middle position of the 4th rank. Meanwhile, his 4 basic augmentation skills were also improved to the 3rd rank, further boosting their power. Satisfied with the result, he selected several pets to be trained by dummy trainers, before heading home. Su Ping saw his mother and Su Lingyu in the living room watching TV like usual. He expected to see his sister asking questions such as why he became a teacher, which did not happen. Though he was glad he didn't have to waste time explaining. "I'm back." Li Qingru looked away from the television with a smile. "Have some rest, dear. I'll warm up your dinner in a moment." "It's okay, Mum. No need to hurry." Li Qingru waited for the show to enter a commercial before going to the kitchen, leaving the children behind. Out of the corner of one eye, Su Ping saw his sister secretly peeking at him. He immediately knew that Su Lingyu was pretending that she didn't care about his lesson. Su Lingyu forced a calm look without looking too flustered. No matter how she checked her brother, she couldn't quite put him and that new advanced teacher together. But his clothes, he was still wearing the same coat. Darn it. Couldn't this guy use something prettier? She madly yelled in her mind. Su Ping, on the other hand, was not sure what was going on inside his sister's head. Though he couldn't care less about it. It would be a plus if this girl stopped giving him trouble from then on. As for explaining his new job, that thought never crossed his mind, because there was no point. He was getting better, and influential. That was a fact. Their mother returned with a steaming plate of a meal that smelled like Su Ping's favorite. Su Ping glanced at Su Lingyu and knew that the almost untouched food had to be another of her many decisions, after what she saw from him during the day. It seemed Su Lingyu did not mention what happened at the academy to their mother yet. Still, this didn't matter since he had come up with many excuses for this occasion. He'd just pretend that he picked up someone's legacy like those lucky guys from a random story. "Nice. I appreciate it," Su Ping said after finishing the meal, which meant different things to his mother and sister. Li Qingru smiled. "Your good sister tried giving you more. In a few days, when the winter vacation comes in, she'll go to a barren area to train with the help of an advanced teacher. She'll even try her hand in the elite league." Since her children didn't talk to each other very much at home, Li Qingru usually acted as their messenger. She seemed proud of her daughter when talking about her plans. Usually, Su Lingyu would hold her head high and point her jaw at Su Ping when their mother spoke of her great achievements. This day, however, she only blushed badly. "Mum, don't." She took a quick glimpse at Su Ping again and sighed in relief when she saw no particular reactions from him. She didn't know what she could do if her brother openly mocked her right then. Li Qingru continued, "It's all right. I'll just wait until you earn a good score in the league so I can tell this to our neighbors, especially Miss Li next door. I hope she stops telling me about her son being the CEO of some big company." When the league was brought up again, Su Lingyu suddenly remembered something and stared at Su Ping. Astral Pet Store. Chapter 117. Bustling Shop. Su Ping offered a goodbye to his mother and went to his room. But before he could start cultivating on his bed, he heard footsteps approaching. Su Lingyu then opened his door. The girl tried to look unruffled, but the way her eyes darted about while avoiding his eyes suggested that she was anything but calm. Su Ping expected his sister to barge into his room, so he wasn't surprised. For now, he would wait for Su Lingyu to speak first. Su Lingyu listened to the sound of their breaths and suddenly felt stressed out. Never in her life did she think that she'd get so mentally strained just by entering Su Ping's room. While trying not to be too obvious, she took a quick glance at the man sitting on the bed, only to feel worse when she saw Su Ping looking at her all calm and collected. This made her angry. "Don't you have something to tell me after what happened at the academy?" Su Lingyu spoke up while keeping a straight face. "What do you mean? What do I need to tell you? Why you?" Su Lingyu clenched her teeth. "How on earth were you employed at our academy? And where did you steal that inferno dragon? Why would I tell you that?" Su Ping smiled slightly without looking too cocky. Su Lingyu grimaced as she realized that her hunch was true, much to her discomfort. "You awoke way earlier than we thought, didn't you?" Su Ping didn't say anything about it. Su Lingyu took several deep, careful breaths before continuing. "That skeleton you had enough strength to take me on since a while ago, am I right?" She was blushing when she said that. Judging by what she had seen during the day, her phantom flame beast was nothing against the skeleton. If her brother managed to raise the inferno dragon to adulthood as well, he wasn't going to take her on. She'd be squashed like a bug. She knew she was no longer Su Ping's rival, but she wanted to hear it from Su Ping directly. It would both annoy her and put her at ease. Somewhat. "Ugh, what a little nuisance she is," Su Ping complained to himself. As a matter of fact, yes. There was no point in denying. Everyone could see that little skeleton was more than enough to beat any of her pets. Su Lingyu felt really bad even though she had expected such an answer. Why didn't her brother show any signs of it? Until recently, she still gave him jump scares in the morning. Why wasn't he fighting back? She could think of a good explanation for that but refused to believe it. Su Ping lost his bit of patience when her sister just stood there without responding for several full minutes. "Go back to your room if you've nothing else to say. I need to cultivate." Su Lingyu gave him a final, thoughtful look and left the room. Su Ping thought he needed to deal with more questions than those. But again, he was happy to be spared. The next morning, Su Ping went downstairs and didn't find his sister, which was rare. Most of the time, Su Lingyu would be having breakfast at such a time. Did she receive too much of a shock and decided to run away from home? He extended his perception and sensed astral power coming from Su Lingyu's room. It seemed the girl was just sleeping in. Which was good. Su Ping made quick work of his meal, hailed his mother, stuffed another piece of toast in his mouth and left through the door. Soon after he departed, Su Lingyu walked down the stairs while dressed in her full outwear for traveling outdoors. She wasn't oversleeping. She was waiting to stalk Su Ping so she could find his secrets herself, since she couldn't get any direct answers from him even if she asked where that inferno dragon came from. It just so happened that she had nothing to do during the weekend. "I'm leaving, Mum." She grabbed something from the bread basket and rushed to the door. "Be careful, dear. Wait, aren't you resting today?" Li Qingru stepped out of the kitchen. By then Su Lingyu was nowhere to be seen. Busy with something. Oh, well, I should leave her be. Using her mother's electric bike usually used for shopping, Su Lingyu headed to Su Ping's shop as fast as she could while detecting his position by using her astral power as an antenna. "You can't hide your stuff from me," she smirked proudly. Half an hour later, Su Ping arrived at the shop at the usual time. When he was a few dozen meters away from the door, he saw a lot of young students already waiting in the chilly morning air, including several returning customers he recognized. For some reason, there were way too many of them compared to before. Perhaps he was getting more and more famous among the students thanks to that lesson. Several students saw him coming and all rushed his way. He almost crashed into them with his bicycle. With his way blocked, he had no choice but to get off earlier. "Good morning, Mr. Su." Hey, sir, remember me, my pet? Training. please. Su Ping tried shooing the several overly passionate people out of his face. Make way. Like always, get in line and wait. First come first served. NT to lock up the bike again so it wasn't snatched by a thief in the chaos. Luckily, no one asked why he was so protective of such a cheap bike. Su Ping entered the shop and quickly scanned the waiting crowd. There were about 30 people. If he could get several training orders meant for middle-rank pets, those customers would provide him roughly 20,000 energy points. Name, phone number, service. You know the drill. The one standing ahead of everyone spoke up. It's me, boss. Zhang Baixing. A training round again. Su Ping remembered him. The guy was always there to train middle-rank pets. So far, he had contributed over 3,000 energy points to the shop. All right. An early riser, I see. Su Ping nodded. If I remember correctly, you're always the first in line. Hey, you know what, boss? I've been waiting here since 5 in the morning. What, man? Several customers waiting further behind realized why they always fell behind even though they woke up pretty early each day. They silently made up their minds to arrive even earlier next time. Okay, Su Ping wrote the new order. Payment, if you will. As a frequent buyer, Zhang Baixing made the transfer of 100,000 in a few seconds and summoned his pyro canine. Astral Pet Store. Chapter 118 Crowded Shop. The pyro canine saw Su Ping's face and immediately tried diving back into the pet space. Though this was not its call anymore. When Zhang Baixing closed the entrance, the creature nosedived into the floor instead. Zhang Baixing blushed slightly upon seeing the awkward reaction of his pet. He wondered why the dog always behaved weirdly at the shop. Su Ping saw the pyro canine showing him a pleading look. He responded with, "Give up," using eye contact. He got the money, so he had to get the job done. You know where to go by now, right? Go ahead, he ordered using spiritual connection. The pyro canine glanced back at its owner with watery eyes and slowly paced to the back of the shop, head lowered. Zhang Baixing saw how his pet was overly grateful, and couldn't help but admire the good service Su Ping provided. Next. Remember me, Mr. Su. You've also trained my pet. The second one in the line called happily. No, sorry. Lu Pengfei frowned in embarrassment. He thought he'd at least be recognized as one of the rankers in the academy. Though he wasn't going to complain because Su Ping was supposed to be a busy teacher after all. It's my phantom seeker again, sir. Lu Pengfei summoned his pet deer with a big smile. That crowd control skill helped him put several more competitors under him on the ranking list. He wanted to keep going. The deer shrieked at the top of its lungs and dove behind Lu Pengfei's back. Lu Pengfei could feel the emotion of his pet, though he didn't care too much about it. He believed that Su Ping's training had to be pretty harsh, which was a good thing. Easy, buddy. Come out. Lu Pengfei tried comforting the deer. You can't get strong without hard work. The deer mumbled something to Lu Pengfei as if complaining. Too bad, no one could understand it. In order not to waste time, Su Ping gave the creature an alarming stare, causing it to shut up all of a sudden. The last bit of hope shown in its eyes was quickly replaced by pure despair. Go there on your own, Su Ping said in a cold voice. Lu Pengfei sighed in relief when he saw his pet obeying the order. He quickly made the payment, offered an apology to the rest of the customers and stepped away. Thanks to Su Ping's impressive way of training, all pets who knew this place feared Su Ping so much that they'd listen to his words without much resistance. Only a few pets who had yet to receive any training from Su Ping still looked forward to the new experience. As the long queue steadily shortened, a shadowy figure approached from one side. Su Lingyu had checked multiple times just to make sure that she was looking at the Pixie Pet store. She couldn't believe that there were so many customers coming. More so, she found many of her classmates waiting outside the door. That guy became famous in the academy. That's why all these students came to check him out, huh? A bored student saw her secretly peeking into the shop and asked out aloud, "Oh. Is that you, Su Lingyu?" Su Lingyu was the tournament champion of all the first graders. Of course most people in the academy knew her. Su Lingyu jumped at the sudden call and quickly made a shush sign to tell that speaker to be quiet. Just passing by, she said in a small voice. What are all these people doing here? You don't know this place. Professor Su runs this pet shop. He offers really nice training sessions. Did you know? Su Yuanying's lightning rat grew so strong all thanks to him. The lightning rat, he trained it. Su Lingyu's eyes went wide. She quickly remembered how she asked her mother for a lightning rat the other day, when Su Ping almost laughed at her. Asshole. He wanted to make fun of me, didn't he? But on second thought, she didn't believe that her failure of a brother could actually train that exceptional lightning rat. Not even her mother could do such a thing. Seriously, you sure you heard that right? She asked in doubt. I am. See that? Lu Pengfei is coming. He's been here several times already. Lu Pengfei. Su Lingyu quickly recognized the senior student who always held a spot on the academy's ranking list. Yeah, I mean, why would he come back if the shop doesn't work? Someone told me that a master trainer is helping in the shop, another waiting student said. A master trainer? Su Lingyu was shocked again. Why haven't I heard about that? And wait, why would a master trainer help our shop in the first place? Of course a master trainer could help a weak lightning rat grow several ranks stronger in a short amount of time. Yet Su Lingyu couldn't find any possibility that might get such a trainer to work in this small shop. She suddenly felt worried. She had not been paying much attention to her brother for quite some time. She was losing track of him. A man came to her with a proud smile. Miss Su, I'll give you my spot if you want to buy something quicker. No, thanks. She retreated farther from the queue so Su Ping didn't see her. While waiting under a tree, she saw many more customers coming and leaving. It seemed most of them didn't mind waiting for a while because there were no lessons that day. She felt excited all of a sudden. As far as she could see, that many customers would get at least to 40,000 to 50,000 net income daily. They needed it. A moment later, she saw another familiar face joining the queue from the back. It was Su Yuanying, the woman who fought the exhibition match together with Su Ping. Whereas some of the students still had doubts about the rumor they heard, Su Yuanying's arrival quickly convinced them. After that, everybody was excitedly waiting for their turns. Astral Pet Store. Chapter 119 Wing Beast. It had been several days since Su Yuanying paid a visit to Su Ping's store. She was more than willing. The problem was, she didn't have enough money. She arrived at the store, surprised to see that long line outside. In a mere few days the store had become quite popular. While she was happy for Su Ping, she became worried at the same time. With the flourishing business and the increase in demand, would Su Ping charge more? Based on her understanding of Su Ping, the answer was, of course. She had just saved 100,000 coins, just the right amount. If he had increased the price, she would have to go back and save more money. This thought disturbed her. Miss Su, you can take my place here. Miss Su, here. My place is better. As soon as Su Yuanying arrived outside the store, she attracted the attention of many students. They would not miss the chance to talk to Su Yuanying. They waved their hands at her, trying to give up their spots for her. This behavior, evidently, invited jealousy and fierce glares from some females also present. Su Yuanying nodded to those students with a smile. She gave it some thought and chose the spot of a boy who was at the head of the queue. She expressed her thanks to him. The boy was overjoyed by Su Yuanying's choice. He laughed so hard that his face was all wrinkles. Su Ping noticed the disturbance outside. He raised his eyebrows as he saw it was Su Yuanying that had arrived. But seeing her didn't surprise him. Soon, those in front of Su Yuanying had paid the fee and given their pets to Su Ping. Not long after, it was Su Yuanying's turn. Mr. Su, I'm back, Su Yuanying stepped forward and said to him with a sweet tone. Su Ping noticed that she was using this tone on purpose. Are you here for pet training? He asked. Yes. Did you bring enough money? I have some money. Su Yuanying looked at Su Ping carefully. Is the price the same as before? Of course. Xuanhuan was relieved. She smiled and said, "That is very nice of you, sir. This time, I'm here to train my fallen phoenix." She only had enough money to train one pet. She didn't choose the lightning rat because, after the exhibition match, she realized that she wasn't that familiar with the lightning rat's abilities and couldn't put the lightning rat's potential into full play. Therefore, she was in no rush to have the lightning rat trained again. The reason that she had chosen the fallen phoenix was simple. The fallen phoenix was the pet with a bloodline of the highest rank. In the future, the fallen phoenix would have the greatest achievements. The lightning rat was powerful at the moment. However, when the fallen phoenix reached adulthood, the lightning rat would be unable to compete with it. After all, a pet with an inferior bloodline was bound by their limited potential. That was an inherent problem. Oh, Su Ping gave a casual answer. It did not matter to him what pet she wanted to have trained. The fallen phoenix is a middle-rank pet, right? The training fee is 100,000 coins. Xuanhuan felt she could breathe again when she heard the price. Indeed, Su Ping didn't hike the price. She transferred him the money and then summoned the fallen phoenix. The students waiting in line cheered in surprise when they saw this 8th-rank pet appear. All of them craned their necks to have a better look at this glamorous pet. I didn't know that the fallen phoenix was also trained in Mr. Su's store. That is awesome. No wonder the fallen phoenix was able to learn an 8th-rank skill. Why didn't I get to know Mr. Su earlier? Otherwise, I could have taken part in the exhibition match for the annual tournament. Many students expressed their regret while exclaiming. Su Ping took the fallen phoenix to the pet room. All of the 25 nursing pens had been filled. He had to put the fallen phoenix into the training space. After the store was upgraded to the 2nd level, the number of nursing pens could be increased to 50, but Su Ping didn't add any more. This was because the main service of the store was training. Few would choose the boarding service offered. Su Ping returned to the storefront so he could receive the next student's pet and money. Xuanhuan had hoped she could chat with Su Ping for a little bit. However, she didn't interrupt him since he was busy. She left after she lingered outside for a bit. "Do you have pet training services here?" A young-looking man in the line approached Su Ping with eyes filled with curiosity. He glanced at the inside of Su Ping's shop, which was narrow and unpretentious. How come so many students from the Phoenix Peak Academy are lining up here, waiting to have their pets trained in such a shabby store? Su Ping answered, "Pet training, boarding service, pet rental, and pet food are provided. There are many kinds of services here. Which one do you want?" While Su Ping made the introduction, the students present suddenly realized that Su Ping's store offered more than training. "There's a pet rental service." A boy at the back of the line stood on tiptoe and asked excitedly, "Sir, what kind of pets can be rented here?" "That inferno dragon." As soon as he uttered those words, the other students remembered the stories told in the academy. Immediately, their eyes lit up. The inferno dragon could be leased. That inferno dragon was still in its infancy stage and was not quite powerful yet. That being said, to take it for a walk outside was awesome enough. Su Ping darted a glance to that boy and said calmly, "The inferno dragon is not for rent for now." This was the only pet with an advanced bloodline. With the contract, he could call back pets on rent at any time in case of danger. However, this inferno dragon was valuable. If he rented it, he would very likely never see it again. He could rent his purple python once it matured. As for Little Skeleton, there was no way he would rent it out. Once the Skeleton King's bloodline was refined by the Little Skeleton, its bloodline would be far more superior than the Inferno Dragon's. Many students were disappointed to hear Su Ping's words, but they could understand. It would be strange if Su Ping would want to put the Inferno Dragon on rent. This might be the only one such pet in the entire base city. Once the Inferno Dragon left the store, it was highly likely that it would be abducted. The young man asking about pet training in Su Ping's store was shocked to hear the conversation between the students and Su Ping. Inferno Dragon. Were they serious? Why did they sound as if a pet of the dragon family of the best kind was really there? This shabby store. The young man raised his eyebrows, deep in thought. Noticing that the young man had not made any remark for a long time, Su Ping frowned. What kind of service are you looking for? Training or what? The young man came back to his senses. He decided not to think about the Inferno Dragon for the moment. After some consideration, he answered, I guess I'll go with pet training too. Which rank? Su Ping asked. Wing Beast, currently at the 5th rank, the young man replied calmly. Students behind him cast looks of surprise after hearing his reply. This young man didn't appear to be older than him. Did he honestly have a 5th rank pet? With such a strength, he could be ranked among the top 10 in their academy. Besides, wing beasts were popular pets of the demon family, with a 9th rank bloodline. The young man was surely related to a distinguished family if he had such a pet. Can you train it? The young man stared at Su Ping. Su Ping nodded. Anything but advanced pets. The young man replied with a smile, but he was holding contempt on the inside. How dare he boast about having an Inferno Dragon if he can't even train advanced pets? He only went there because there were many students from the Phoenix Peak Academy, which was strange. Otherwise, he wouldn't leave his pet there for training. But this wing beast wasn't the strongest pet he had. All his pets were being trained and looked after by advanced trainers. He merely wanted to find out what the students of the Phoenix Peak Academy were up to. Pay up, 100,000 coins, Su Ping said. The young man raised his eyebrows. He thought this was too expensive. Can you lower the price a bit? The young man asked. Su Ping pulled a long face. No bargaining. The young man frowned, but since the other students had paid, he had no choice but to say, fine. Then, he transferred the money. Afterward, he summoned his wing beast. This was a monster that was dark all around. The pet had a hideous look, with 4 big wings on its back, a bird's head, a human body and hawk's claws. The wing beast was emitting the aura of darkness, unique to pets of the demon family. There was danger contained in its pale gold eyes. The wing beast coldly glanced at Su Ping and those around it. As soon as the young man issued a command, the wing beast would attack. Students behind the young man turned pale and stepped back for a bit when they felt the evil presence of the wing beast. They were afraid to stand too close to it. Give the strength of this wing beast, one peck could crack their heads. Su Ping didn't have such feelings. As the young man transferred the money, Su Ping said to the wing beast, Son, come inside with me. Then, he was about to show the wing beast to the pet room. The young man didn't have a chance to pacify his pet yet. Seeing Su Ping step close to his pet in a rash manner, he said in haste, Don't. Before he could finish speaking, the wing beast suddenly spread its wings and cried out at Su Ping. Bloodthirsty intentions emerged from its cold eyes. The sharp claws that were hidden underneath those wings reached out to Su Ping. Su Ping didn't expect the little thing to be that ferocious, but this didn't worry him. With his solar bulwark, his defensive power was stronger than that of 5th rank pets of the Stone family. Pets of a rank similar to his that were able to hurt him were few and far between. Astral Pet Store. Chapter 120 Suppress. Before Su Ping had the time to raise his hand, the sharp claw that had just touched Su Ping's shoulder was suddenly bent, until it cracked. At the same time, the wing beast fell to the ground with a bang sound, right in front of Su Ping. There was an unspeakable, horrifying power pressing the wing beast down. It couldn't move at all. The wing beast didn't try to struggle or fight back. The violence and bloodthirst in its eyes were long gone. It fixed its golden eyes on Su Ping full of terror. In its eyes, Su Ping was like a towering god that couldn't be defied. The horrifying aura coming out from Su Ping almost overwhelmed the wing beast. Its insides were shaking and it was losing its mind. Soon, a disgusting stink came out from the wing beast. An incontinence reflex. This drastic turn of events astonished the young man and the many students behind him. The young man and the many students opened their eyes wide in shock as they stared at the wing beast shivering on the ground. A second before, the wing beast had an awe-inspiring appearance. How come an instant later, it was lying on its stomach in front of Su Ping, shaking and trembling. Not to mention the organic reflex. They didn't even see Su Ping make a move at all. If it weren't for the fact that all of them witnessed how violent the wing beast was, they would have regarded this as premeditated blackmail. Su Ping was also surprised. Soon, he realized that the system had taken action. Anything that tried to attack him within the realm of the store would be taught a lesson by the system. Last time, Fan Yujing verbally abused him and tried to hit Su Ping, only to have his arm broken. The wing beast was in a more miserable state because its attack carried bloodthirst and murderous intentions. Not only was its claw broken, but it was also pinned down to the ground. The horrifying aura over the wing beast could only be felt by Su Ping and the wing beast. It was something that came from supernatural beings. Su Ping supposed that the wing beast would remain mentally scarred if its mind wasn't entirely lost, given the embarrassing state it was in. The young man stared at his wing beast, unable to believe this. He knew better than anyone else about the violence and cruelty exhibited by the wing beast. To tame it had been enough of a headache. He couldn't imagine how the extremely arrogant wing beast could end up in this awful state. The young man felt a strong terror coming from the wing beast. This sense of terror affected him as well. He began to be wary of Su Ping. What happened? The young man couldn't understand. The broken claw and the fear both came out of nowhere. From beginning to end, the young man never saw Su Ping make a move. Or, was Su Ping so fast that he could not see it with his naked eyes? The plot had thickened. Su Ping was at most about 20. To defeat the wing beast at this age was hard enough, not to mention taking action so fast that it was invisible at plain sight. How powerful would Su Ping have to be? Many students came back to their senses after the initial shock. They turned to Su Ping. Was that the actual strength of an advanced teacher? He had defeated the wing beast in an instant. He didn't have to take action to press down this violent beast and make it tremble. Not even the average advanced battle pet warrior could have achieved this. The only explanation was that Su Ping was an 8th rank battle pet warrior, but a master battle pet warrior at the age of 18. Those students knew Su Ping's age after checking the academy's website. Their amazement was stronger than the young man's. He was so young and yet so terrifying. Su Ping came back to his senses to face those silent customers. He darted a glance at the shivering wing beast on the ground. From the intense fear in its eyes, he knew the wing beast was scared half dead. Inside, he asked the system, "What should I do?" The system answered calmly, "Since this is the first time, this is only a small punishment. Now that the customer has paid up, the host should carry on with the training." Su Ping understood. He bent over, grabbed the wing beast's wings, and dragged it to the pet room in the back. The young man moved his lips, trying to make a sound, as he saw Su Ping grabbing the pet. However, the words remained in his mouth. When he worked up the courage again, Su Ping had vanished into the back of the store. Su Ping came back to the storefront after the wing beast was thrown into the training space. The young man asked in a hurry, Sir, what did you do to my wing beast?" Su Ping gave him a look of surprise. "Didn't you pay for the training?" "Of course, I put the wing beast aside for the moment so that I can have it trained later." "Ah, what?" The young man could not wrap his head around this. He didn't expect that Su Ping would continue the training when the wing beast had offended him and he had taught it a lesson. The young man knew he couldn't be disrespectful to this young store owner anymore. Su Ping had remained quiet and unmoving when he surprised the wing beast. This alone made it clear to the young man that Su Ping was a formidable warrior. A talent with such strength at this young age was not someone to be provoked. "Please forgive me if I have offended you," the young man apologized at once. Su Ping didn't think he had been offended. It was the pet that had tried to hurt him and it was not the young man's intention. Otherwise, the system would have punished the young man as well. "Don't worry. It's just a small punishment. I will return the pet to you when the training is done." The young man was relieved. "Thank you." Su Ping waved his hand. "Do you want anything else? If not, please step aside." The young man didn't know what to say in reply. He stood at the side. He threw some glances into the store. However, the doors were closed and he couldn't see anything. While curious, he was afraid to go into the back. In his mind, this old and shabby store was dangerous. "Goodbye, sir." Since the young man couldn't find anything useful after he glanced around, he bid farewell to Su Ping politely. Su Ping just made an "oh" sound without saying anything else. He was busy writing down the name and contact info of the next customer. The young man forced a bitter smile. He turned around and left quickly without making another attempt to say something. When he reached the street corner in the distance, he turned around and took one more look at this place to remember the name of the pet store. Pixie. That was a strange pet store with a terrifying young store owner. This was the label he devised for this pet store. Then, he left. "Mr. Su, you are awesome." That was a 5th rank wing beast, a pet with a bloodline of the 9th rank and an incredible pride. "How did you overwhelm it so quickly? I didn't even see you do a thing." Right. That wing beast was scared out of its mind. After that young man left, many students finally came back from their stupor. They were so excited that their eyes were kindling. Previously, they had heard stories about Su Ping. They weren't quite convinced and thought that it was Su Ping's pets that were powerful. They suspected Su Ping was from some major financial group. It turned out Su Ping was just as powerful. The marks of the wing beast's urine and feces were still there. The smell was bad, but the students were still thrilled. Su Ping was at their age. He could suppress the wing beast while simply standing there. On the other hand, those students lacked the courage to even face the wing beast. How huge the difference was. Outside the store, under a tree, Su Lingyu was standing in the shade, secretly observing. When the wing beast reached out with its claw, she almost cried out in alarm. She wasn't afraid of the wing beast. She was afraid to see Su Ping be seriously harmed by the wing beast. The change in events was mind-blowing and unbelievable. That was Su Ping's strength. The strength that this guy had been hiding all this time. The expressions on her face shifted again and again. Everything seemed surreal. She knew that Su Ping was probably strong. After all, he became an advanced teacher at the academy. Still, she had underestimated him. At this rate, without relying on pets, he was more powerful than she was. Su Ping couldn't have achieved this overnight. Hence, Su Ping had awakened a long time ago. It was just he had never shown it, just letting her make fun of him and bully him as she wished. All of a sudden, her eyes reddened. She bit her lower lip. A lump came up to her throat. She was filled with a complicated and yet unspeakable feeling. End of the chapter. Astral Pets Store will be read in 5 chapters for every Monday, Wednesday, Friday and Sunday. Please leave this sound novel and press subscribe, follow, and the bell so you don't miss any new clips as well. See you.